Okay, hello everybody. How you guys doing? Let me get my stuff ready. So, for those of you that start jumping on, just say hi. Let me know where you're at. I'm gonna be going back and forth from the screen, so I might not see your comments and stuff immediately, but I will look from here on. I'll go back and forth. So I wanted to get on today and talk about relationships. Okay. And before I get on into the dynamics of relationships, I want to talk a little bit more about why it is that relationships are so important, why it is that we love relationships so much, why it is that there is so much conflict, that we get so involved. Why are they so important, right? That is what we are going to be talking about in 1 minute. Okay, so got the wrong intro there again. But so, guys, let's talk about relationships and why they are so important, because I feel like that's the most important thing. When we get the basis of the relationships, then we can understand how to work within them when we realize what it is about them that makes them so important, so beautiful, so terrible, so dysfunctional, right? What is it in relationships? And this is the thing. Okay, for us to learn about ourselves, for us to experience life, for us to develop a level of self awareness, we need relationships. This is how we learn, this is how we grow. We learn and we grow through the experiences that we have through our relationships. This is why I love relationships, and I talk about this in particular in my other life, are so important and so meaningful. Why is it that we fall in love? Why is it that we are attracted to some people, right? The reason why we are attracted to some people is because we see certain aspects of them that we admire, certain aspects of them that we see that either we have lost within ourselves that we once had, or that we know we can attain and we want to attain. This is why we also, like certain influencers, certain celebrities. And I say this in a non-cynical, non-narcissistic way, but it really is stemming from ourselves, because that is what we are. We are reflections, we are mirrors to each other. It's the same way as when people repel us. Why do people repel us? Okay, when I'm really upset, or when someone really, like, when you're scrolling down social media and someone's like, "Oh, they really like rubbed you wrong." Well, instead of like taking it personal and thinking, "Oh, I don't like their content, or I don't like what they're saying, I don't like their attitude, or they're this or they're that," try and think about, why are they reacting? Why am I reacting to them? What are they triggering in me? Right? What are they triggering in me? What aspect am I seeing that either I need to work on myself, and maybe that's why I'm not liking it, or are we denying or hiding certain aspects of ourselves that we're not willing to deal with? And this person is just throwing it in our face. And that's the thing about relationships. Okay. And this is why when you see things as a learning experience, when you see things as that this is not happening to you, this person in this relationship, your child is not being a jerk at you, this is not happening to you, when you start seeing this is happening for you, then it changes the complete story. Because if this is happening for you, then why is your child rebelling? What aspect of myself have I not worked out? What aspect did I not deal with in my younger years? Or what did my parents not teach me or give me that now I'm not able to give my child, or I'm not even able to give myself? You see, children, families are a second opportunity of fixing or working out those aspects within ourselves that we have never been able to incorporate, right? That we have never been able to meet. And so this is an opportunity for us to be able to revisit that within ourselves. Because remember, this happens with everything. I teach this with entrepreneurship, and with finance, but it has the same thing to do with relationships. It has the same thing to do with careers. It has the same thing to do with friendships. The level of where we're at with ourselves The level of comfort that we're at within ourselves, the level of love that we're able to give ourselves, the level of acceptance that we're able to give ourselves, the level of comfort that we're able to provide for ourselves is the level of comfort, of awareness, of love, of compassion that we're going to be able to give, whether it's our children or whoever it is in our lives. And now we're going to stick to family, right? We're going to stick to parenting. And we're going to think about that. Okay. And this is the opportunity that we get now to see what it is within ourselves that we need to work. And I'm going to say that if you apply the techniques that I'm going to be talking about now, if you apply these techniques and you stick to them, and when you hear them, you're probably going to be saying, oh, yeah, I've heard that before. Oh, big deal. Stay calm. Are you kidding me? I'm watching this for you to tell me to stay calm. And I'm going to say, yeah. Okay. Sounds easy, right? You've seen it a million times, right? Stay calm, do this, stay calm, do that. But how many times do you effectively practice it? How many times does your child or your husband or your girlfriend or whatever push your buttons and you explode? So there you go. You see, sometimes things are simple, but they're not easy to implement. It's like with our daily lives. We know that we should drink 8 to 12 glasses of water. We should exercise, at least do some cardio, 15, at least if it's walking, do some physical exercise, right? We should read something, give our brain some food. There's certain things that we should do. We should, spend certain time with our family and our loved ones. We should do this. We should practice that. We should keep on our toes with certain things. But do we do them? They're easy, but we don't do them. And then we wonder why we have problems, whether it's with our health or with our relationships. And it's because it starts with us. So I invite you to now do this search within. Now I'm going to look at my notes because I wrote some stuff down that I think is very important that you guys can do, okay, so that you can have a good relationship. And I know they sound easy, but now I want you to ask yourself these things in your current relationship. Now, if you're having trouble with your child, let's say that this is a very common theme, right? Let's say that your child is not doing good at school. Okay. And you say you've tried everything. You've tried taking his electronics away. You've tried punishing him, not letting him hang out with his friends. You have got him out of bed early, sprayed him with water. You have taken his favorite shoes away. You've tried all of this, but yet you can't get him to do this. And now I want to ask you a question. Okay. Have you tried to work with your child about this problem? Or are you looking at it from the point of view of the parent? Do you want a child with good grades? Or do you want a happy child? Because sometimes what we want and what we need don't coincide. And what I mean by this is that sometimes we say we love our child, but we want our child to do this, have this career, have this grade, stay in school, right? But at what cost? Maybe our child is not happy. Maybe our child does not like school. Maybe our child would like to try something else. Maybe he would like to do a trade. Maybe, mathematics, or this does not work with him. Maybe he wants to be homeschooled. There is so many things that can be triggering. Maybe it's not even that at all. Maybe it's the school. Maybe it's that they don't encourage him. Maybe it's that the learning is not geared towards him. It's a one size fits all. Maybe he's having problems with friends. Maybe he's having trouble with the teacher. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable. There are so many factors. But when you look at it as your child is not doing this, then it becomes you against them. And of course, they're going to fight at you because they don't feel loved. Think about your personal relationship when someone or your partner asks you to do something or you ask your partner to do something and you have this conflict. Think about when you don't feel heard. Think about when you don't feel misunderstood. Now think about your child. Because if we are putting our needs, what we want and what we expect over our love for our child, if our love becomes conditional, then of course our child is going to close off. and is not going to communicate with us. Of course, our child is going to rebel and misbehave, because what you have to understand is, think of your childhood. In these developmental years, what a child is trying to do is find his way in the world, develop some self-awareness, and find his place in this world, right? Okay, and find his independence. So, of course, as his parent, he is going to fight you for these rights. And when he doesn't feel loved, when he doesn't feel heard or understood, when he can't express how he feels, he comes out with the only way he knows how, with rebelling, with being mean, with lashing out, with not giving you what you want. You see, he's using the only tools and the weapons that he has. So as parents, what we have to do is give our child these tools so that they learn how to communicate, and so that they learn how to go through life. Okay, that is what you need to help your child do. And it starts with you. Like I said, the level or the degree of the relationship that you're going to have has to do with you. You know, sometimes we don't realize that we're a little critical with other people. And we're like, well, you know, you don't do this right. You didn't do this. Or we associate, you know, for example, if your child then does good on the test, you know, we reward the outcome. What happens with this in life is that we tend to then put our confidence on our outcomes and not our confidence in our abilities. And this gets very confusing with the parent and the child, because then you are rewarding your child for the outcome, but not for his merit. So, for example, if your child does something good, what you want to reward is the practice and the study. So if he got a good grade, congratulate him for his good grade, but say, you see how when you prepare, when you study for a test, or when you know your material, or when you like what you're doing, the outcome you get. So then you're rewarding the experience. You're rewarding something that your child can control. And this works with any relationship. Okay. If you reward an outcome, we're not sure that we're able to deliver this outcome all the time, right? But if you reward the effort, if you say, you know what, honey, I know that you studied really hard for this test. You didn't do as well as you did. Why don't we sit here and try to see what it is that happened, or what it is that you can do better so that you can get a better grade? When we start doing this and putting emphasis on the effort instead of on the outcome, on the thing, then the child starts feeling more like he's a part of you. When you start trying to work on the problem, not on the child, then you're going to have a much better relationship. So what I ask is for you to now sit here and reflect and grab a sheet of paper and start writing things down. Okay, I tell everybody that I talk to when it comes to relationships to treat their relationships like they would a business plan. When we are going to start a business, we don't go driving around the street and say, whoa, you know, that property looks pretty neat. You know what? I've always wanted to have a restaurant. I'm going to rent it. I'm going to get a lease, and I'm just going to, you know, sign the lease, and I'm going to start work on the first Monday of the month. Of course, you would never do that. You would never wing it like that. Never. You would either write a business plan, hire someone to write a business plan, hire someone for marketing, for advertising, for design, okay, for launching, for everything, right? Or you would do it all yourself, and you would spend a lot of time on research, and you would spend time studying and working towards it, right? And getting it all ready and making sure that all the pieces are in place before you start. But yet we don't do that with relationships. We don't do that with ourselves. And then we wonder why we fail. And then we wonder why we have conflict. Now, what you have to do is write down what it is that you want. If it is that you truly want to love your child unconditionally, then you're going to love him whether he's good at school or not, whether he is behaving badly or not, because you see him. You don't see how he's behaving, because that is situational. You see him. And when you treat him with that compassion and unconditional love, and you work with him on the problem, say, honey, you know what? You've developed this attitude. I understand that you're a teen and you want your independence. And that, of course, as the parent, as authority, you're going to fight me. It's not cool to hang out or want to hang out with your parents. I understand that. I was a teen too. But we have this problem. I cannot have you talking to me this way. We need to set some boundaries. Just like you don't want me calling your names or abusing you, I need the same from you. So, can we work on this together? When you treat the problem as the problem, you don't treat your child as the problem child, your relationship will transform. When you work with your child on whatever it is, whether it's him sneaking out of the house, his misbehavior, his bad grades, okay, his addiction to video games, his wanting to stay in the room, whatever it is, his depression, his anxiety, okay? When you work with him on it, and when I say work with him, I mean really work, because I was depressed too. I suffered from anxiety. I was diagnosed with ADD and with depression and with a lot of stuff and given medication. But I was given this stuff and it worked a little bit, but this works as a band-aid. When I say work, I mean really work. If your child is depressed, you need to sit with your child and figure out what's going on. Divide his life and see where it is in his life that he is not unhappy and work with it together. You see, this is the thing. We have these relationships with our children and we have our lives, right? And it all comes together and life is messy and it's complicated and it's hard. And we feel like because, we gave birth to our child, we work so hard, right? We're so tired. We come home, we keep the house clean, we cook for them, we take them to run their errands, we buy them the stuff that they want, that they love so much, like their phone, their video games, their Nike Airs, whatever it is. If it's a girl, the makeup, the purse, the outfits, right? And we feel like they should be grateful. They should not talk to you that way. They should be this, they should be that, but we don't live in that kind of world. And like I said, we're all here on our own journey. It's all our journey. You gave birth to this child. You gave him all of those things, but now you gave that to him, right? It's his life, right? So now it's his life to live. The best thing that you can do now is guide your child. Help him make the best decisions. And when he makes a bad decision, just be there. Be there to pick up the pieces. And don't be there to say, I told you so, but be there to say, you see, you need to work on this. Or you see how when you do this, this happens. And work on it together. How can we prevent this from happening again? Let's work on it together. You want to go to the party, right? I don't want you to come home late. Let's meet halfway. You want to start getting your independence. I need to start letting go. But we need to do it together. It's not you against me. It's not I'm the bad guy, okay, and I'm the rebellious kid, okay? It's how can two people come together in this circle, this unit, because that's what you guys are. You're a unit and you work on it together. Okay. And I want you to understand one thing. If you have been, behaving a certain way with your child, if you've been withholding affection, if your love maybe has been a little bit conditional because you didn't realize that, yeah, maybe you want him to do certain things. And yeah, it is a little bit more for you. You weren't thinking that much about them. Maybe you have friends that their kids are in the honor roll or are going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and your kid wants to do something different, and you're feeling a little bit embarrassed. You're feeling like you're not, with the Joneses. Let me ask you something. Should you not be looking at certain aspects within yourself, as in why you need your child to do something for you to feel good? Are we putting our expectations on our children? We need to think about these things. And I know that these things are hard, but I want you to sit here and write down all of these things and think about them and why it is that you feel the way you do. We need to start analyzing ourselves We need to start ourselves self-regulating ourselves and being self-sufficient so that that way we can have the relationships we want. So as parents, start thinking about it. When I ask for when I need these things, what is it that I need? Now, when it comes to, let's say, something like school, when it comes to something like behavior, you have to explain to your child also, the benefits of it. Because as a child, they have a limited experience. It's like if you're on the top of the building, you can see traffic, you can see that someone ran a red light, right? And that there's someone else coming, and, there might be an accident ahead. But if you're standing in the front of the building, you can't see that. So children have a certain limited level of experience because they haven't lived life as much as we have. So it is our job to not tell them how it is, but to show them and to be compassionate, and to hope for the best. So when you explain to your child, when you show your child why it is that you wanted to do something, get good grades, why it is important now, why it's important for you to not do certain things now, because there are consequences. When we start having more dialogues, we want to have better communication, right, with our families. We want our children to come to us when they have a problem. But if we don't do this dialogue daily, if we don't participate and talk about the uncomfortable things when there is nothing wrong, when everything is good, how do you expect them to come to you when they are feeling this way, or when they are going through the tough times, when you haven't set the foundation? We have to set the foundation. So what you can do is start. And like I said, you have to show people what it is, what's in it for them. So if you want your child to spend more time with you or have dinner with you, okay, let's say you want to start having dinner together, not in front of the television, you want to turn everything off, phones off, and have a more one time. Well, you're going to have to understand that they're going to resist you, because what's in it for them? Well, they want to watch TV and eat. That sounds like way more entertaining, doesn't it? So what's in it for them? When you are making someone do something that is not as much fun as their current activity or what it is that they're doing now, you have to become the persuader. It's like if you were in sales, right? Think of your child as someone that you want them to buy your program, buy into what you're selling, right? Think of it like that. Put just as much effort. You wouldn't go to that person and say, hey, you need this. You don't understand, buddy. This is top of the line. This is good for you. You need to do this. I'm a doctor. You're going to get sick in 5 years. You're going to have this and this and this. No, they would literally barge out that door. So why do we think we can do this with those we love? We need to use the same tact and persuasion that we use for the people in the outside world with those in our circle. So persuade your child. What's in it for them? If they do their homework now, what's in it for them? Well, they're going to be more prepared. They're going to have good grades. In 2 or 3 years from now, if they want to go to college, if they want to start their business, they're going to have this knowledge. This is experience that they can't take away from them. And you know what? Even if they don't care about that, but what about their personal pride? What about them putting effort? What about commitment and hard work? If you're in school, you're committed to be in school, you're going to do a good job. You're going to do your best with what you have. We need to work with what we have. So we need to work with our children and teach them. This is why I love personal development so much, because it teaches us the life skills that we need to incorporate so that everything else in our life can work. Because, we only focus in this world really about material possessions, about careers, about college, about this and that. But we don't think about what it is, the glue that puts everything together for that perfect life, for that perfect relationship, the perfect career, the perfect bank account, right? The stability, the balance. Where does that come from? That comes from you. So if you don't have that stability, if you don't have that balance, if you don't have that level of skill, then you need to attain that so that you can achieve what it is that you want in every aspect of your life. That's what we have to do. So If you guys want notes to the talk that I had about today, if you guys want the notes, send me a message and I will send you the notes. Okay. I will also be writing some other stuff, okay, in respect to what you can do and what questions you can ask yourselves that I have written down that you can do on your own time and you can look over. And the certain do's and don'ts so that you guys can remember, okay, when you're in a relationship, okay, what you want from that relationship, and when you're in a conflict, okay, the questions that you should be asking yourselves, like, what is it that I want out of this conversation? What is it that I want to achieve, right? What is it that I want to get? Okay, when you start doing stuff like this, that is when everything will start to improve. Now, I want to remind you of a couple of things. Okay, if you are having problems right now, let's say starting today, even without these notes, what I want you to always remember is, like I have been saying from the beginning, it starts with you. And what does this mean? It means this, okay? Even if you're upset, let's say you just got a call from the teacher and your child did the most terrible thing. I mean, he literally, like, you know, threw her books on the floor, was super disrespectful, whatever it is that he did, right? You have to remember that how you come into the conversation, because you don't know the story. There's always two stories, there's always more stories. You don't know what happened, right? If you come into the conversation attacking, if you come into that conversation as it's you and me, listen, buddy, your teacher just called me, you got a problem, it is never going to work. It is never going to work. And I'm not asking you to be blind, not to go into the school either and say, that's my child. I don't care what he did. That's my child and I'm standing by him. No, it's not that either. It's, I'm with my child. Let's work on this together. Why did you do this? What happened? And then work on it together. So remember, the level of energy and the attitude that you bring into the conversation is the most important thing. And remember your state. Try to always go into a conversation when you're feeling good, when you're able to have a conversation. If you are upset, that is not the best time to have the conversation. And if it just happened and you have no control, I would say, you know what? Be honest. Take a pause. I'm feeling a little upset right now. We're so afraid, or we have not been taught to express our emotions. We've also been loved conditionally, right? We haven't been given that unconditional love that we need. And even when we have been given unconditional love by a parent or partner, it has been temporary and we didn't learn from it enough to now be able to implement it. So it is all work in progress. Okay, just remember that it's all work in progress. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you made today, tomorrow you can start over. So be vulnerable and be honest. Say, you know what? I'm really upset right now. And I don't think that I'm going to control myself. And I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret. So we are going to come back to this when I feel better, when I have gathered my thoughts. Write things down. If you're upset at your child, don't tell your child. Grab a sheet of paper and write it all down, and actually be really specific. Write whatever you want. Write whatever you want, because you know what? You can burn that later. But remember that thoughts are energy. And if you keep those thoughts in your head and you don't let them out, you think that when your child comes that you're going to handle it right. But then he just like comes out at you with something really, really nasty. And you know what? All that you had going on inside, you know what's going to happen? It's going to come out. That's why I always tell couples to write things down. If you're upset, grab a sheet of paper, go in a room and write it all down. Write how much you hate him right now, right? How much you wish you could leave right now, what you would do, what you would say. And then break it, rip it, burn it, and then now write, what can I do? What is the reality? Okay, writing things down gets that out, it gets it out, it gets the emotions, it gets the heat out, and now you can let go of that anger, which is only a surface emotion, because that's all it really is. It's not the real emotion. There's always something lying under that anger. When your child reacts at you, that's just what you're seeing. You're not seeing the hurt. the fear, the insecurity, the pain. That's what we need to get to. That's why I say that prescriptions are okay, but they're the band-aid. They just control the top emotion, the anger, the mood, the depression. But we need to get to the why, the needs that aren't being met. Okay, the pain, the hurt. That is what we need to get to. And we can only do that through dialogue. We can only do that through communication. So I want you to take time every day. You know, the average American family spends around 10 minutes talking, and it's usually talking about trivial things. Get ready for school. How did you do? Did you do your test? Did you do your homework? Did you have dinner? Don't do this. Get off that. Go to bed. How many of these conversations are deep and meaningful? How many times do you just sit with your child and say, honey, what's going on in your life? How are your relationships? Yeah? Is everyone treating you good? Is there anything that's going on that you want to talk to me about? Are you having any problems that, I'm a grown-up, I can help you. If you started to do that, have those meaningful conversations now, when the problem arises, you know what? They're going to come to you. And they're not going to be a jerk about it. Because they're going to feel like you got their back, but you got their back for real. You have to understand that the rent, the clothes, that yes, those are needs that you're giving for your child, but those are basic needs that need to be met. How about the emotional needs? How about the security and the comfort and the communication and the time and the quality and the compassion? That is the hard stuff. That's what we need to work on daily, and we need to give. And we need to give it to ourselves too. Okay? So remember, if you guys want the notes, let me know. And for those of you who hear this but think that you might need a little bit of help implementing it, whether you're a mom or whether you would like to help your child with some coaching so that he's able to control his mind, control his thoughts. Because what happens with children is, and teens, and really with all of us, is that we get so involved in our thoughts, right? We get so involved in our thoughts that they are able to literally chemically change our state and control our actions and our beliefs. So what we have to start doing is teaching our children, because now we're talking about children from an early age, how to control their thoughts, okay? How to control themselves, the emotional control. And that way they will be able to better manage every challenge that they have in life. And I know that sometimes this is difficult, and this is why I've been helping and working with parents too that have children, because it's the dynamics, because the truth is that, even when we had good parents, they couldn't meet all our needs. They made mistakes because they're in the learning process too. They did the best with what they had. So what we need to do is now learn ourselves and now help our younger generations so that so that we can do better. So if you're interested in coaching, whether it's for you as a mom or whether it's for your child or together, you can send me a message and we can get on a call and we can talk about where it is that you're at, what it is that you would like to achieve, and how it is that we can get there. All right, well, that's it for now. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Tuesday, and I will talk to you guys soon. Until then, take care, guys. Have a fantastic day. Bye.